All right, Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Today's daf is daf Mem Beis. We start from an Aleph. Bezrat Hashem, we'll upload it. Yeah, we'll upload it. Mitzvah Hashem. Yeah, messages, huh? I know. I didn't have my internet in Greece. I kept trying to upload the shiurim, and it wasn't working.
Right, Wi-Fi, no Wi-Fi.
The Wi-Fi is shvach, the hotel, this and that. Okay, we'll get there. Mitzvah Hashem. Mem Beis, today's daf is Mem Beis. We start from Mem Aleph Amud Beis on the bottom. The last two lines. Ve'ein safek moitzi medei vadai. The Gemara wants to know, is it true that a safek can't overpower a vadai? Can't be moitzi from a vadai. In other words, whenever you have a safek on the one hand and a vadai on the other, right, then you have to follow the vadai. You don't follow the safek. So the Gemara says that's true. Vatanya, Omer Rabbi Yehuda Maaseh b'shevchasoi shel meitzik echad berimoin. There was a certain meitzik. Rashi says, what's a meitzik? A meitzik was a strong Jew, a guy who had muscles like the WrestleMania who just died. Yeah, he had mamish, he had muscles. Gavra alma v'Yisrael hava. And he lived in Rima, she'atilo nefel abar. And he put a nefel, mamish top line on the Beis Amud Aleph. She'atilo nefel labar. They used to put in nefalim. Nefalim are babies that didn't live out, the first month after they were born. It's nefel. Nefel is somebody, a baby can't live more than 30 days.
You one of the people that noted that they discovered by a nunnery that they had a whole bunch of kids with...
Where they had nefalim in there.
Yes.
Wow. Is that a true story?
I heard it many years ago that they dug up quite a few...
Okay, here's the Gemara. The Gemara says that they used to have a pit where they used to throw in, or they used to bury.
They were a little ashamed of the...
Yeah, used to bury the nefalim. Whole shaila, if a nefel has to get burial like a human being, does it have a din? Kvura. Right. So that is, Shav Efshar Latchil. The Gemara says, you came just in time for the story, Reb Shol. Maaseh b'shevchasoi shel meitzik echad berima shetila nefel abar. She put in a nefel in a pit, a kohen, and the kohen came, ve'heitzitz boy, and looked into the pit, leida im zocher in the keva. He bent over the pit, he's a kohen, right? And he wanted to see if this nefel that was thrown into the pit is a zocher or in a keva. For whatever reason, he wanted to see it, because you have to count different amounts of days for a woman who gave birth to a zocher, all the parish and parish Tazriya, or he gave birth to a keva. So he wanted to see, it was a zocher or a keva. Yeah? So here, the shaila was whether this kohen becomes tamei. And the shaila came to the chacham. The chacham wanted to know. They wanted to see if this kohen became tamei, v'teharu, and the psak was that the kohen is tahar. Why? If the nefel is there and he looked over the bar, then he probably became tamei. So why did the chachamim say he's tar? You know why? Neishechulda ubardelis mitzuyin sham. Because you have animals in the pit. What's a chulda and a bardelis? A chulda and a bardelis is rats and snakes. A weasel. A weasel.
Weasel is like more honey badger.
Oh my goodness.
Honey badger.
Can I tell you something? We were davening a few months ago in my minyan, Friday night, in somebody's backyard, and all of a sudden we looked up, we saw a whole family of raccoons staring down on us on the... You remember this? Were you there?
No,
on the roof of their back house.
I remember.
Mamash, one raccoon came out from the hole, and another raccoon. But then how many raccoons were there? Like 4 or 5 raccoons. And Shalom, my son right here, didn't move. He stayed. Mamish, remember that? It was scary. I ran to the other side.
When I was
It was crazy. So what is it? Like so about a weasel is like a raccoon?
No, weasels is more honey badger.
I think they don't come to the city unless they're scared or they have nuts. They stay away from people.
They stay away from people. Okay.
When I
Yeah.
was camping,
Yes.
I saw a family of raccoons on a trailer in the night. I mean, I looked out the window and I saw 1, 2, 3.
Oh my gosh, it's so unsettling.
No, I was fine. I was like, why is there like a bird, like a crow on us? I was like, it's early.
Oh, good for you. You weren't unsettled. It unsettles me. Okay. So the Gemara says like this. They said the kohen is tar. You know why? Because by the time the kohen looked into the bar, they probably ate the nafel already. The nafel's not there, so he didn't become tummy. Because churdla bardless matzuyin sham. So the Gemara says, "V'hacha over here, the vada yetila. It's a vada. It's certain that the nafel was there, right? That's the nafel. Safek gararu, safek lagaru. It's a safek whether the churdla bardless by the time the kohen looked in was gararu. They slapped him away and they chomped on him on the nafel in a different place. Asi safek and over here, telling me safek about today vadai. You rely on the safek over the vadai. So asks the Gemara, so you see safek can overpower a vadai. Says the Gemara, no. No, it's not a right because over there it's not so certain that a nafel was thrown into the bar. It's kamin nafel a bar. Even if the chulda and the bardless didn't drag this piece or whatever it is out, it's still not a vadai that this shivcha, this maidservant of this maidzik, threw in a nafel. So Mameli can't prove from here that asi safek amoitz b'dei vadai. Asks the Gemara, what? What else did she throw in there if not a nafel? V'haleidim zachem nekeva ktani. Didn't he want to see whether it's a zachar or a nekeva? It says, the story goes, that he wanted to see whether it's zachar or nekeva. If he wanted to see whether it's zachar or nekeva, then certainly it was a nafel, right? Says the Gemara, leidam im ruach apila am nafel atila. Doesn't mean whether it's zachar or nekeva. It means the kohen wanted to see whether it's ruach or it's a nafel. Yeah, it's a ruach or a nafel. Says the Gemara, "V'imtim tzeloymar nefel atila, leidem zachar nekeva." Intim tzeloymar was taka nefel. Then he wanted to see what zachar nekeva. V'yiboy seima, and if you want, I'll tell you another teretz. Kima shechulda bardus metzuyin sham vadai gereru. It's not a safek; it's a vadai. Why? Because if a chulda and bardus are common there, then it's certainly for sure that they drag this nefel out, and it's a vadai keneged a vadai. Okay, that's the end of that. Yeah.
It's probably a deep pit. How are they able to get out?
The chulder bardlus, how are they able to drag it out? Okay, I don't know the science, I don't know the biology of a chulder bardlus, but it seems like they have no problem somehow. The same way they got in, that's the same way they get out and drag it out. Oh, the Eligir Tzvi is there, and Mo is here. Let's make some room. Okay, you came just in time for the kasha we're about to ask. We're going back to a machloikis we had last night. Last night we had a machloikis. Last night we had a machloikis Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish. Machloikis Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish was whether Avodah Zarah that broke on its own, the guy didn't break it with his own hands, right? It broke it in Shtieble me'eleho. Yachab Shol, you hear? A machloikis between Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish, if Avodah Zarah was Shtieble me'eleho, is that nisbatel? Is that bottle or not? Rabbi Yochanan says it's not bottle. Shlokish says it's bottle. It's mutter ba'ano. You know why? Because if the Avodah Zarah couldn't save itself, then certainly he's not going to save. It's not going to save the guy. The guy says, "I'm giving up on it." Says the Gemara, Esavei. Okay, where are we? We are around. How many lines from the top, Doctor? Would you say this is? This is around the 15. Oh, what do you got there? Steinsaltz. I told you when we're in Rome, there's a plaque. Actually, Rabbi Daniel Gladstein just sent me a video. He was just in Rome also. He discovered it for the first time. A plaque in the center of a plaza in Rome, they had Rav Steinsaltz put a plaque when he finished that shas, writing that shas. He put a plaque in the place where they burnt all the Gemaras in the 1500s. Yeah, when the Pope decreed that all the Gemaras in Italy have to be burnt in that plaza, the center of Rome. He put in a plaque to celebrate the continuity of the Talmud, of the Gemara, and he wrote Gvilos Nesrafen V'Oisius Parchas, which is the Gemara in Daf Yomi and Avodah Zarah. That you can burn the parchment, but you can't burn the spirit of Torah. Okay, says the Gemara, Esavei.
Okay, you're on Mem Beis where?
We are Mem Beis Amud Aleph, 15 lines from the top. Esavei, last word on the line. Esavei. Okay, Rabbi Yochanan asked Rish Lakish, Motza tavnes yad, tavnes regel, arei l'asurin, neshekayotze ben nevad. That if you find a piece of an image that has a yad on it, or a regel on it, it's asa bana because neshekayotze ben nevad, because they still serve it. Still serve to Avodah Zarah. Gemara says, Amai, why is it Aser? Rabbi Yochanan asks on Rish Lakish, Shvarim nenu. It's Shvarim. After all, it's Shvarim. So according to you, if it's Shvarim, even if it's Shtabra Meleh, it's Mutter. So why is it Aser? Gemara says, Turgum Shmuel, Ba'im Den Abasisa. No, they're not just regular Shvarim. They're Chashuv Shvarim. They're Mamish Chashuv. If they're Chashuv, then they still serve it, and that's why this is an exception according to Rish Lakish. Next kasha, Esavei asks Rabbi Yochanan another kasha in Rish Lakish. How could you say if it's in Shtabra Me'alel, it's Mutter Bano? Have a kasha of a Mishnah later on. Ovid Chavim Mavatla, Ovid Chavim Shaloi. Ovid Kechavim can be Mavatla's own Avodah Zarah. V'shel Chaveiroi, or the Avodah Kechavim of his friend. The Yisrael Einoi Mavatal, Avodah Kechavim Shal Ovid Kechavim. A Yisrael cannot be Mavatal, the Avodah Zarah of a Goy.
That's why in Staten Island, I think before they actually took possession of the building, they went through and they made sure that all the getchkas and all the things like
they
that
made
were
sure
destroyed.
that it's all destroyed.
Right.
Yisrael cannot be Mavatal, the Avodah Zarah of a Goy.
At least that's what
Gemara
I heard.
asks,
That's what I heard.
Amai, why not? Why can't a Yisrael be Mavatal, the Avodah Zarah of a Goy? To have a Avodah Kechavim, Shenishtabra Me'elel, let it be like Avodah Kechavim, Shenishtabra Me'elel, like it broke in its own. If a Yisrael approaches a Goy's Avodah Zarah and he smashes it to the ground, you're right, the Goy himself didn't do it. But if the Yid does it for the Goy, then it should be klapper the Goy, as if the Goy, it got broken on its own at least. And according to Rish Lakish, Neshtabra Me'aleh is mutter. So why is it aser? If a Yid does it to a Goy, it shouldn't be any worse than Neshtabra Me'aleh by a Goy, which is mutter. Where it says, Amar Abaye, over here, Abaye says, he learns, when the Mishnah says over there, that a Yisrael who did it, it's still aser, it's because he didn't break it lagamri. Shepchasa. He just hit it with a hammer, but nothing broke off. He basically hit it with a hammer until the shape or the image lost its tzura. Lost its tzura. Basically, the nose, he hacked up the nose or the ear.
Ears or something.
Yeah, something. But still, the actual getchka, the statue, still stays kamashu. Gemara asks, if so, why isn't it help? It says that by a guy who does it like that, then it's also batal. So why, if a yid does it to a guy, it should be as if it's nishtabra me'aleh. It's only by a guy. But if a yid does it, then it doesn't work. In other words, you can make the differentiation by pchasa between a guy and a yid. Rashi explains why. Because if a yid does it, you can't compare it to nishtabra me'aleh, right? Because what's the svara, according to Rish Lakish, if it breaks on its own, then it's mutter. Because the guy says, look, it couldn't save itself, why am I going to serve it? But if it's just pchasa, the guy doesn't say that. If it loses its tzura a little bit, the guy doesn't jump to the conclusion and go so far as saying that if the getchka couldn't save itself from being pchasa, being nesmaich, then I'm not going to serve it. He doesn't say it, unless he does it on his own. Gemara says, V'rova Omar, Rova says a different terms. Even if the Yisrael does it, it's also batal. The truth is, a Yisrael can accomplish bittul on the Avodah Zarah of a guy, according to Rish Lakish, because like Goraf and Nishtabra Me'aleh. Elo gzeira tzigzeira dilma magbel of ahadim avatala. The reason why they say if a yid does it, it doesn't work. It's only a gzeira. What's the gzeira? The gzeira is that the yid might pick it up if it's still mutter. If he says it's not mavatala, he might pick it up. And once he picks it up, he's going to benefit from the Avodah Zarah and be over an Isser. And Avodah Kechavim b'yad Yisrael, v'chol Avodah Kechavim b'yad Yisrael, eina b'teila la'olam. Once he is zoicha, he picks it up, hagba. Now he's zoicha in the Avodah Kechavim. The halach is that a Yisrael cannot be mevatel his own. If a Yisrael owns an Avodah Zarah, never doesn't have bittul. It's an unbelievable halacha, right? If a guy owns an Avodah Zarah, a guy could be mevatel his own Avodah Zarah. But a yid who owns an Avodah Zarah, a yid cannot be mevatel eina b'teila la'olam. Yeah, we're showing them have a whole conversation over here. If a yid has an Avodah Zarah, why can't he be mevatel it? He himself can never be mevatel his own Avodah Zarah. That's the halacha by it. He's got to get rid of it. Can't just be mevatel it, break it, and then use it. You got to get rid of it completely. Right? The Rishonim have all machlokes over here. Ramban, Ran. Is it a halacha min ha-Torah? Is it only the Rabban or the fact that a yid can't be mevatel his own Avodah Zarah? It's a whole shaila. Okay? Rashi over here is mashma that it's min ha-Torah. Rashi over here sounds like that this halacha that a yid can't be mevatel it, can never be mevatel his own Avodah Zarah is min ha-Torah. Okay, says the Gemara, Esevei, another kasher Rabbi Yochanan asks on Rish Lakish. Again, how could Rish Lakish say that Neshtabra Ma'aleo, Avodah Zarah, that's how it is, Mutar Ba'al? No, have a kasher from a brisa later on. Oivet Kechav M'Shevi Avonim Min HaMerkulis. A goy who brings stones, rocks from Merkulis. What's a Merkulis? That's basically...
Mercury.
What?
Mercury.
Mercury?
Yeah.
So he says,
Avodah Zarah.
So Avodah Zarah.
100%.
It's a...
זורק אבן למרגולת.
What's that?
Right, yeah.
They used to talk.
And the
That's the
Muslims
name
still
hermits?
do that. When they make the
What does that
Hajj,
mean?
They still do that.
The name. So why they call him Merkulis? Interesting. Rashi says, yeah.
זה כמו, זה היה כזה, היה איזה פסל,
Yeah.
והם היו מסביב לפסל, כאילו כמו איזה מדרגה כזה, והיו זורקים עליו אבן. זה נקרא זורק אבן.
It's a nice way to serve, huh?
ככה היו זורקים עליו, זורקים את האבן, זה עבודה זרה.
No wonder, now I chop, when you play tennis, yeah, and you throw it, that's why it's called a serve.
But the Muslims, when they make the Hajj, that's one of the stops. That this is exactly what they do. They pick up stones and they throw it at this thing.
Very interesting. Rashi says, what's Merkulis? Rashi says, Yesh akum she'oivdim legal shel avonim. It's a pile of stones.
Yeah.
V'koidin lo Merkulis, v'cholaba zoyrek lo even v'hi avedasa. This is such an interesting, like you think about it today and you think to yourself, were these guys nuts? Were these guys crazy? Like this is like, how did we can't even grasp, we can't even understand, fathom how they would do it. Okay, says the Gemara Vaiter. Yeah, the Brisa says.
What's the first word on the line?
The first word on the line is shehevi. Esevei akum shehevi. There's a small zion over there.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
If they do this Avodah Zarah and it works, then they get into it. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I had a guy, he's a welder, he gets welding from me.
Okay.
Comes to me, he talks to me about all these ideas. He tells me in Spanish he's like a witch. So what are you talking about? So he tells me that he has these santos, he calls them santos, which are big little statues, whatever.
Yeah.
And he tells me I pray for people, this and that, and you have to give something to the. So sometimes you give apples, but I'm like they don't eat it. They don't eat the apple, they don't do anything. But it doesn't. He says that he does this whatever, and the people get healed and stuff like that. So
They believe that powers. In other words,
so
they have.
people come to him now to do all these things. So he wants to do for me.
That's
I said, no, I can't
amazing.
do it. And he's like, but he says to me, I can see things about you, this and that, you need to do it. But
This is called Santeria, and it's the same thing as voodoo.
voodoo.
Voodoo is from Africa. Santeria is from Mexico and South America.
So it has it has powers. It has powers. Okay, so that's the attraction. That's crazy. Wow.
Once it works, whatever. Let's just take the stone thing example. And then the guy got healed.
Yeah.
Attributed to the stone. Everyone says, "Oh, this must work."
Everybody does it. Yeah.
It's like you go to one of these.
Yeah.
But they tell
That's
you,
exactly right.
and then it works.
Yeah.
There's a guy over here, right? He tells me when my wife, you can have a boy, whatever. You have a boy, you have a girl.
Yeah.
Whatever he was right. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm the one. I told you, but people fall for that. So here.
Right.
Some people are
Yeah. Some people are real.
It's a 50-50 chance.
I had him a couple tell me that I'm going to have twins, and then when I didn't, he says, "Okay, I was off by one."
But this, if you go downtown, and you'll see places called Botanica.
Came in time for the joke. Okay, so anyway,
They sell herbs.
Bottom
and
line.
This is like,
bottom line,
where this guy goes.
yeah, bottom line over here, this is the Oifen Avedasa, Zoyrik Le'evan of the Avedasa. So anyway, the Brisa says, a guy brings one of the stones of Merkulis, which, I guess is part of the Avodah Zarah, it's Aser Ba'ano, V'chipa ben Drochim, Srat Yois, and he used it to cover over Drochim, I guess roads, to build roads. Mutaris, it's Mutter Ba'ano. Why is it Mutter Ba'ano? Teretz is because he was in Vatal Avodah Zarah. He took it and he's using it for a road. That's bittul. And a guy can be in Vatal Avodah Zarah. The Yisrael Shevi Avan Merkul is Zechim Drachim Esrat Yois. But if Yisrael does it, that's aser. Why? Because the avonim still remain aser. Their avonim remain aser. Okay, says the Gemara. Amai. But why should it be aser? According to you, Rish Lakish, who says that if it's nishtabra me'eleho, then it's mutter. If a guy has an avodah zarah, he didn't touch it, it just broke on its own, it's mutter. So tihavik avodas kechavim shenishtabra me'eleho. When a Jew takes the stone from an avodah zarah that belongs to avodas kechavim and use it for something else, so let it remain, let it be like it's nishtabra me'eleho, and it should be mutter. Says the Gemara, Nachanami Rava. Teretz is like Rava. The truth is the Gzeira. Over here it's a special Gzeira because we're afraid that maybe the Yid will be kaina this Avodah Zarah before he's mevatel it, and then he'll never be able to mevatel it again. So we don't want that to happen. So it's Rava. But really, it's not a kasha in Rish Lakish. Really, according to Rish Lakish, it should be mutter. Rava says there's a Gzeira. Eisavei says the Gemara, Nacha kasha oicham sheshipa avedis kechavim letzarchai. A guy that takes an Avodah Zarah, let's say it's Avodah Zarah of eights of wood, and he starts smoothing it out. Yeah, he's shipa. He smooths it out. L'tzarkai. Why? Because he wants to use whatever comes out from when he is smoothing it out. Whatever comes off, the material, the chips that come off, he wants to use it. Right? Huh?
Sawdust. Yeah.
The sawdust. Let's just say he wants to use the sawdust. So Gemara says, he v'shipiyel mutarin. The avodas chav itself and whatever he took off from it, it's mutar ba'ano. But if it's letzarka, but if he's trying to beautify the avodah zarah, that's why he is smoothing it out, smoothing it down. He asura, then only the avodas chav is asur. V'shipiyel mutarin, but whatever came off, that's mutar because not a chilik avodah zarah anymore. The Yisrael sheshipa avodas kechavim bein letzarka, he should shipay asurin. If the Yisrael does it, he is the avodah zarah itself, right? The piece of wood in the shape of whatever shape it is. That's can't have enough of it. Can't have enough of it. The avodah zarah itself, and whatever came off, whatever sawdust came off of it. Gemara says, "Amai, why when a yid does it to the avodah zarah of a goy? Why is it aser to have a kavodas kechavim shenishtabra me'elel? It shouldn't be any worse than if avodah zarah of a goy didn't do anything and it just broke on its own." If it breaks on its own according to Shlakish, it's mutter ba'ano. So if a yid does it to an avodah zarah of a guy, it should be like nishtabra me'eleh. It should be mutter. The Gemara says, no, hachanamik the Rava. Very simple. You're right. Really, it should be mutter, but over here it's a gzeira, like Rava said. Eisavei. Final. Well, okay. What's that? Two more kasha on Rish Lakish. Eisavei. Another kasha. Rabbi Yochanan asks on Rish Lakish. How could Rish Lakish say that avodah zarah of a guy that's nishtabra me'eleh, it's mutter ba'ano? We learned in a Mishnah later. Rabbi Yossi says, "Shoichek v'zoyre l'ruach, oimetel layam." That you are shoichek, you can grind on avodah zarah. And what do you do with?
Throw it in the water.
You gotta
in the ocean.
Either the ocean or you throw it into the wind, and you can't have ano. Amru Lois Chachamim said, 1 second. Afi nasa zevel. If you throw it in the wind, you know what's going to happen? It's going to land. It's going to land on the field. And you're still going to have ano because it's going to be like fertilizer.
Right.
Gemara says, and it says you're not allowed to have ano from avodah zarah, so you're going to be over. So the Gemara asks, to have a kavod, let it be when a yid takes the avodah zarah of a goy and he grinds it like that. Let it be like an avodah zarah of a goy that broke on its own, which according to Rish Lakish is mutar ba'ano. So what's the issue over here? And says the Gemara, chanamik the Rava, it's a gzeira like Rava says. Okay, one last, two more kashas. Eisavei. Like Rava says that if you're allowed to have a no from it in that stage, at that stage, like Rish Lakish, then we're afraid that you're going to pick it up, and then the Yisrael is going to be kainet, and once the Yisrael is kainet, the Yisrael who owns Avodah Zarah can never be mevatel it. So that's why, and then he'll be over an avera.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
Great. Yeah. So Hagbah, because he wants to. Yeah.
No. But what if
he wants to take it for himself? He wants to take it for himself, and then be mevatel it. He's not going to annoy you. He just wants to be kind for himself, and then be mevatel it later in his house. So we're afraid that once he's going to pick it up and he's going to be kind through Hagbah, he's not going to know that you can't be mevatel anymore. Yisrael can't be mevatel of the Zarah that belongs to him. Only as long as it belongs to the guy. So we say that it's actually Asr Ba'ana, so we want the Jew to leave it. You can't touch it. This way the Jew will never pick it up. That's how the Chachamim enacted the Gzeira. That's what Rabbi is saying. That says, don't pick it up. Even if you broke it for a guy, don't pick it up, because if you pick it up, then you might be kainet, and if you're kainet, you can have mevatel it. Okay. Says the Gemara, Eisavei. Rabbi Yossi ben Yassi on Omer. Noch one kasha on Rish Lakish. Rabbi Yossi ben Yassi and Omer, I guess I never heard such a Tana. The name of a Tana, we have a new name. Rabbi Yossi ben Yassian. Anybody ever heard? Shol Shas? Yeah? Rabbi Yossi ben Yassian? Motza tzuras drakoin v'rosh chatoch. He found the tzura of a draken. Draken sounds like a dragon, no? Similar word.
It's what?
Draken is a dragon. Very similar word. Okay.
דרקון זה נחש עם כנפיים.
Aha.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's a dragon.
זה הנחש הקדמוני, זה ככה נראה.
Taka.
ממש? זה היה הצורה של הנחש הקדמוני?
הקדמוני, כן.
איפה זה כתוב?
It had legs or not? It had legs or not? Yeah, right.
Are dragons real? There are dragons in this world? No.
הנחש הקדמוני
היה לו דרקון. Okay.
You ever seen a crocodile? You ever seen what they call it,
Iguana?
a motor, it's like, it looks like a crocodile, but it's like no, it's not a caiman, but it's Komodo dragon. Right.
Oh, Yasso, what's your
Right,
name?
right.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Only dragon that people
So
have.
anyway, he found a tzuras drakoin. He found the tzuras drakoin, and v'roishoi chatoch, and the head was cut off. Sofik oivet kechovim chatochai, sofik yisrael chatochai. We're not sure who cut it. Yeah, if the goy cuts it, then it's nisbatel. The tzuras nisbatel, and it's motivano. If Yisrael cuts it, it's not nisbatel. Why? Because Yisrael cannot be mavatel of Avodah Zarah. Gemara says. Vada Yisrael Chatochai, it's mutter, then it's mutter. So Sofik who cut it, that's mutter. Vada Yisrael Chatochai, that's osir. And tomorrow, Amai, do you have a kavod Yisrael Shtieble Melel? Any time a yid cuts off the head of the draken of a goy, it should still be mutter bano, because it shouldn't be any worse than if the goy had it, didn't touch it, and it broke on its own. And according to Shlokish, that's mutter bano. Says the Gemara, no, Chanami Kedarava. Over here also, really, Shlokish will tell you. Al pi halacha, really it's mutter. It shouldn't be any worse than if it came off on its own. If a yid does it to a guy, it's like if the guy had it and it happened on its own. So why is it usher? Because Rava says there's a gzeira that if you let a yid pick it up, right, and it's not usher b'hana, then he'll come to be koinet, and if he's koinet, he's never going to be able to mevatel it. That's Rava's gzeira. Okay, one last kasha on Shlokish. Esavei. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi says, Af lo yurokois b'yemoisag shamim. Yeah, you're allowed to plant, the shail over here is, if you're allowed to plant Yurakas, vegetables, under an Asherah tree. An Asherah tree is a tree that's Avodah Zarah. Yeah. Rabbi Yossi Omer, Af lo Yurakas.
Somebody told me years ago, in a lot of the African villages, they have a tree in the center of the village. They've got skulls hanging from it.
No.
All kinds of things like that. And it's basically...
Today.
Yeah. I mean, I heard about this 50 years ago, but still, they hold that this is...
looks like 35 years old. All right, yeah, no. Okay, and they mamish, they come, the whole town comes together and serves it.
Whatever, it's supposed to bring luck or bring something, I don't know, something.
Super interesting, interesting.
It depends on what they believe in that particular place.
Very interesting. So this is mamish such a case where they have an Asherah tree, and now you want to plant Yurokas.
Also, 1 second, in the middle of December, the Christians, they schlep it. They do the same thing.
Ah, okay.
No, that's where it came from. In Germany, in the middle of winter, people walked through the forest, and everything was and they found this tree that was still green. So they figured, this is something special. So they made a whole gesture.
Got godly powers.
Right. Something, whatever.
Okay, you can't even plant zroim, Yurokas, in even during the winter, right? Even though it's not like the tree, it gives shade to those Yurokas, right? If in the summer where the sun is beating down, then you're not allowed to plant Yurokas under the Asherah tree because you're having benefit from the Asherah tree. Because the Asherah tree serves as shade. But at least in the winter, right, it's cloudy, it's rainy, especially if you live in Manchester. If you live in all these areas where only the sun comes out once a year in the summer, right? So there, it shouldn't be a problem. People in Manchester are listening, they're not going to like this. Yeah?
עוד טיפה נקרא את זה ברייתא במ"ג, תנו רבנה, איזה צורת דרקון, פירש רבי שמעון, בן לעזר, כל צורת נחש שיש לו ציצין, כוונה סנפירים,
like you said, yes,
בין פרקיו,
yes, amazing. Amazing.
In other words, it's like an alligator with wings.
Yes. So again, let's go back. We got to finish the daf. Let's go. Because What happens is in the winter, the leaves fall down onto the Yerakos, and then it disintegrates, and it's like fertilizer. So you're also having enough from the Asherah tree, even in the winter. Asks the Gemara, Mai, yeah, why should it be usher to have a kavod? Let it be if the leaves fall down, right? It's from an Avodah Zarah, so it sheds, the leaves shed from the tree. It should be, according to Rish Lakish, it should still be mutter. Why? Because it's like an Avodah Zarah that broke on its own. Those leaves that fall is like an Avodah Zarah that falls in, that broke on its own. It says Gemara Shani Yosin, the Ikar is called Kayemes. Over there it wouldn't work even according to Rish Lakish. You know why? Because the Ikar Avodah Zarah is still around. The tree is the Ikar Avodah Zarah. So if a piece falls off of an Avodah Zarah that's still around, the Ikar is still there, there we don't say that it's mutabano. It says the Gemara v'hashipuyin the Ikar is called Kayemes. We talked about earlier that if you smooth down an Avodah Zarah shel eitz, the halach is you're allowed to have anah from the shipuyin, from the sawdust. Asks the Gemara, what do you mean over there? The ikar is still kayim, so how can you have benefit from the shipuyin? Answers the Gemara, no, over there it's different. Because the Asherah tree is the way it sheds is it's derech gedilasa, it's the natural way of the tree. So if it sheds in a way where it's natural for it, then it's not batal. Says the Gemara, now we flip the kashas. Till now Rabbi Yochanan was asking Rish Lakish. Yeah. Now we ask, now Rish Lakish asks on Rabbi Yochanan. Eisevei Rish Lakish le Rabbi Yochanan. Rish Lakish asked Rabbi Yochanan, how could Rabbi Yochanan say, Avodah Zarah shenishtabra me'eleo is aser? It's the Chada Mishnah Me'ila. Kan shebarosha ilon shel hegdish. If you have a nest on top of a tree of hegdish, loy nenen v'loy moyalin. It's aser to have anah from the nest, but v'loy moyalin, if he has anah from the nest, then it's not a problem. There's no me'ila. So you can't have anah on the one hand, on the other hand, if you do, you're not over an isra of me'ila. Kan, but if you have beroisha shel asherah, what if you have on the top of an asherah tree, not hegdish, right? The other extreme, the tumah. Not kodesh, but tumah. If you have a kan on the top of an asherah tree, yatiz bakane, then you're allowed to have a no from the atzeh kan. That's the Mishnah. Kasol Kedaitich says the Gemara, how do we explain that Mishnah? So the Havmina, this is how Shlokish wanted to explain the Mishnah. Kegoyin sheshavra mimenu eitzim bekinsa behen. How did the bird build its nest on top of the asherah tree? It took a little bit of the twigs from where? From the asherah tree itself and built a nest on top. And what do you see from there? A katana, yatis bekana. You're allowed to have anah from those twigs from that nest. How could you have enough from that nest? The Teretz Yisrael says, I'm right. Because the shtabra me'eleo is mutter. So it's a kashan Rabbi Yochanan.
On the first case, are you able to do shiur chakan?
Oh, if it's kosher of birds. Mitzvah lav lahanas netnu. Okay, that's a different conversation. But very good kasha. I like that. Oh, this is the assumption. Rish Lakish assumes and asks the question. The Gemara is going to say, don't make the assumption. We'll see.
If it's in,
but Rish Lakish is making an assumption.
If it's in the Asherah, they probably took
they took the
from
twigs.
the same tree.
That's right. You know, so like I had a couple of nests in the last 60 days in my house, in the back and in the front. We had a couple of nests. Yeah, and I'm watching the birds in the back. I was watching the birds in 530 North Fuller. Yeah, okay. So, 530 North Fuller, Massachusetts. Yeah, so like, so basically, I'm watching the birds like build a nest on top of one of my light fixtures outside. And I see like from the nearest tree. It's coming from the nearest tree. It's bringing the nearest tree. So it's assumed, Rish Lakish is assuming that where did the bird get the twigs from? They got it from the tree itself. It's the closest source. So the Gemara says,
on with the bird?
You bet.
Yeah.
You bet. Yeah.
There are others? I mean, there.
Oh, I don't know. They're not there anymore. But yeah.
היה להם קבלה, איך היה נראה הנחש הקדמונים. היו מציירים את זה על גביעים, על גביע. אז זה היה גביע שהם היו שותים בו, מנסים בו את המים, את היין של העבודה זרה שלהם, ועל הגביע היה את הצורה של הנחש הקדמונים.
אתה יודע איפה יש הצורה הזאת שמה?
בוותיקן.
לא בוותיקן. ברומא, על שער טיטוס. You take a look at the menorah on שער טיטוס. You watched the film, no?
Yeah.
You didn't see it?
I went in for the dish about.
Gaval. Yeah. Okay, we have a. Okay, you want to. Okay, but you'll see that the menorah on Shar Titus, one of the main issues with that menorah.
Yes.
They claim it's the menorah from the Beis HaMikdash, but there's three main issues. You'll see the film. It says number one has curved branches, and we know the Rebbe says for sure that wasn't the menorah from the Beis HaMikdash, right? The Rebbe Sich in the Parshas Truma. And then we have also the base. Rashi and Rambam say it was a tripod, and over there you have like a cake-like base.
Right.
Yeah, and on that base you have Nachash HaKadmoni. You have dragons, and of course the menorah of the Beis Hamikdash definitely didn't have dragons. That shape, the draka that we're talking about over here, for sure did not exist in the menorah of the Beis Hamikdash. So everybody asked, how could it be? So some want to say that the artist who engraved the menorah of the Shartitas, he decorated it over there, but that wasn't what it really looked like.
Or maybe he did a bedavka.
And there's a famous essay from Rav Herzog, the first chief rabbi of Israel, and he writes that, this is a conspiracy theory, obviously we can't prove it, but he says that on the way from Eretz Yisrael to Rome, when the menorah was in transit, the base broke off on the ship. The base broke off, and the Gemara describes it on that ship. Right, the wave, there was like a wave wanted to drown the whole ship. And Titus, Nachshol came, and Titus said, what, your only power is with water?
Tsunami.
Hashem says, Rosha ben Rosha, Beria Kali, Yeshli Boilomi. I have the smallest gnat that can overtake you.
Yeah.
But either way, we're getting totally sidetracked. So here we have the nest on top of that shiur tree. Rish Lakish says, you're allowed to have enough from the nest. It's coming from that shiur tree. Teretz was broken off. The Shtieble Mele is mutter. Says the Gemara, here the reason why it's mutter ba'ano is because it doesn't come from the Asherah tree, it's coming from a different tree. That's why it's mutter, so it's not a kashan of Yochanan. Daikanami have a raya that's coming from a different tree, the Ketani, Gabe Hekdesh. Because by Hekdesh in the ratio over there it says Loi Nehenen v'loi moyalin. You're not allowed to benefit. Again, we're talking about the ratio in that Mishnah where you have a nest on top of a tree of Hekdesh. And it says loy nen and v'loy moyel. You can't benefit, but at the same time, if you benefit, you're not moyel. You don't have an aveira. If you're going to tell me that the eitzim that the tzipor built its nest with comes from other trees, not from the hegdish tree, loy nehen v'loy moyelin. Loy nehen b'derabbanan, it's asad derabbanan. V'loy moyelin b'deraisa, like kaddishi, because it brought it from a different tree. It's not from the tree of hegdish. Eli amr teshavra eitzim imenu v'kinsa behen. But if you assume, and the ratio by hektish, that the bird took from the tree itself and built a nest from the tree, why is there no me'ila there? Hakadishe, it's hektish. So how are you going to answer that? Must be that bein beresha, bein beseifa, the bird never took the twigs from the tree itself. It took it from different trees. And that's why in the ratio you're not moil, because it's not hektish. And in the seifa, that's why it's mutter ba'ano, because it's not from Asherah. So the Gemara says, no, it's not a raya. Midi area can't prove from there that it comes from a different tree. Midi area it could be really comes from the same tree. So you can ask me if it comes from the same tree, why by hektish is there no me'ila? Teretz is because these twigs grew after he was makdash it, and we had in Baba Basra, we had a whole sugya. Whether if a person is magdash a tree and then it grows after he's magdash, it starts growing more branches and fruits. So Gedule hekdesh kehekdesh or not? Do we say that the gedulim also have a din of hekdesh or not?
Why not?
Because it wasn't present b'shas hekdesh.
So
it
grew the tree, and
he was magdash whatever was present b'shas hekdesh. If it grows out of it afterwards, machlokes.
Yes, specifically.
Perhaps. Yeah. So Mamela, that's why. Yeah. Yachloket gdola, lamadnu et ze b'Basra. Okay. Shai. Peravo Rabbi Yochanan, ma yatiz. What's yatiz mean? It doesn't mean that he can be matir, he can have benefit from the twigs. Really, avadam, he can't. It just means yatiz bu'efroichen. It means you're allowed to have anoah from the chicks, but not from the twigs, because the twigs came from the Asherah tree. Both are mutter. By Beitzim, by Hekdesh and by Asherah. Yeah, by Beitzim, kan asurin. Why by Beitzim? If it's still Beitzim, it's asur because it still needs the tree. It still needs the tree. So if it still needs the tree, it's like you're having a noah from the tree itself. Okay. Omer of Ashi.
How are you having an off from the tree?
It's a gzeira. It's called Chachamim.
It's also holding the egg that you're gonna have.
Right, right.
It's like Gedula Elon. Okay, that's another conversation. Yeah? Tosfos says the reason is because we're afraid that you're going to climb onto the tree to take the beitzim or the afroichim atzrichen le'iman and you're going to head off of the tree. Amar Ravashi v'afroichim shetzrichen le'iman kebeitzim dami. And little chicks, tiny chicks that can't fly away yet, they have a din like beitzim and they're usher, bain by hektish and bain by ashero. Okay, zug the heilige Mishnah weiter. Up to the Mishnah and Beis Amud Beis. Hamoitze kalim. Guy finds kalim. Huh? Hamoitze kalim. Va'aleim tzuras chama, tzuras levana, tzuras drokoin, yolichim liyam melech. If you find a beautiful keli, and on it you have the tzura of a chama, tzura of a levana, one of the most incredible sights I went to see in Greece, I'll never forget this, is mamish ties into this, is we went to the location where the burial place of Alexander the Great's father was discovered in the 1970s. Was it 1970s? King Philip.
Oh, seriously? Yeah.
Not only that, you know what they found there? Incredible, they found his crown intact. The crown that he wore, it's made out of gold, so it never much gold. The most beautiful crown in the world, it must be worth, priceless. In the museum, on the burial site. They built a whole museum around it. Anyway, bottom line is, they have his ashes in a box, in a beautiful box. I don't know if the box has, dragons and whatever it has on it, weiß nicht. But they have the cups, they have the kalim, they have his cups that he drank wine from. All of his treasures were found in his tomb, where they just discovered it. Incredible, Alexander the Great. The Gemara says Alexander the Great ruled over the whole world. He, mamish, was one of the... just like a Chashverosh. My son will tell you, Megillah, it's a Gemara Megillah. Tosfos adds, Alexander the Great. Yeah? Gemara says, if you find kalim with any of those shapes, you should know that it was served as Avodah Zarah, and you have to right away take it to Yam HaMelech
And throw it away.
Huh?
I don't. For instance, if I take Philish, that
Right, yeah.
sun and the moon and
Right, and all that stuff in there. Right.
Okay.
Right.
Rabbi Shimon Gamliel
$2,000.
Shimon Gamliel says, "Shal mechubad and asur, shal mevuzim mutarin." It's only if it's on chashuva kelim. It's not any keli. It's on chashuva kelim. That's when it's asur. But if it's kelim mevuzin, that's only meant decorative purposes. Is not so chashuv. Then it's okay.
A plastic cup with Mickey Mouse on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Says the Gemara. Remember the lahanu the palchalu lemidachin eloi. Why only these tourists? Only if it has the images of a levana, of a chama, of a druk, and that's when it's us, and that's what they serve. They don't serve any other images. Ramin, I'll ask you a steer from a braysa. Shoichet l'shem horim. Guy shechts an animal. L'shem horim, for the mountains. He believes the mountains have power. L'shem gvois, smaller mountains. L'shem yamim, seas. L'shem the oceans, l'shem the haras, and lakes. L'shem midbar, and deserts. L'shem chamel, l'shem lavan, l'shem chav mazalis. L'shem echol sar gadol. Yeah? L'shem shulshul cotton, even if it's a tiny worm. Harei elu zivchei mesim. You're not allowed to benefit from those animals that he shechted. Why? Because it's considered zivchei mesim. Right? It's called karbonis Avodah Zarah. So what do you see from here? That they serve not just chama levana. They serve also shapes of midbarius, naharis and yamim. Okay, one teretz. Okay, Abaye has another teretz. Abshol says that's Yedua. Okay. Amr Abaye. Okay.
Look at all the pharaohs.
Okay.
All the pharaohs, they had the nachash.
They had like the horn. The horn.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow. So that was Yedua, you're saying? They're drunken. Okay. Abai says Miflach chol b'mach k'lepalchi. Yeah. So what is Amar Abai? Miflach chol b'mach k'lepalchi. Really, they serve whatever they can find. These goyim, they'll serve whatever it is. Meitzar miflachi, but to draw it on a keli and then serve that, it's only these three things. to go ahead and trouble yourself to draw it on a keli, this is the general rule. Generally speaking, this is what. Yeah. Huh?
Snakes, especially cobras, are seen as powerful and divine symbols in ancient Egypt. That's why Aaron's staff turning into a snake and swallowing the snake.
Wow.
Further emphasizes the
Interesting.
divine superiority of God of Moses over the Egyptian God.
הם עבדו את הצד האחר.
There was two. There was authority and it was also divine.
Unbelievable. Aha. So the Gemara says, Abaya says, we'll finish over here. Anything else? Yeah, if they're drawing it on a keli, it's only leno, it's not to serve except for these three. By the way, the Cham and the Levona we're talking about over here is because they believe, Rashi says in the Mishnah, very interesting, Mazel Chama.
Yeah.
Right? The Mazel of the Levona, the Mazel Chama, I guess from the Shivei Koich Veleches, from the 7 visible planets, that are influenced by the zodiac, part of the astrology system. There, it's the Cham and the Levana have a unique place in the Oivda Avodah Zarah's hearts. Okay, we'll stop over here. We'll continue tomorrow.
But you just finished the mission, right?